Cryogenics looks at preserving human bodies by freezing and then later on in the future bringing them back to life. It's interesting that there are two frog species that can actually stop blood circulation or heartbeat or even breathing through semi frozen state and still survive. And so, what does this mean? And what is the trade off for this? So, in terms of freezing, there are only few vertebrates that can actually withstand semi frozen or being frozen and still survive. And so, the main challenge with organisms becoming frozen is that water within an organism, when it freezes, it becomes ice crystals. And these crystals become very sharp and could actually cut through membranes and organelles. So organisms can respond to these environmental variation in two ways. They can either tolerate it or they can avoid it. They can tolerate it by adapting certain characteristics or behaviors, or they could go ahead and avoid it and leave the area. So this type of interaction with between organisms and the physical environment is definitely called physiological ecology. So what entails ecological success? Organisms achieve this in two ways. They try and either withstand the stress or they go away from that stress. The main thing organisms want to do is to survive and be able to reproduce. So if we look at on your x-axis the environmental gradient, which includes abiotic factors such as temperature, precipitation, and salinity from low to high, and y-axis abundance of organisms. Notice that actual distribution, the optimum distribution of organisms pretty much is at a medium environmental gradient. Now, the actual distribution that takes place, of course, depends on certain factors, abiotic factors, as well as interactions, biotic factors within organisms. So there is a potential distribution. Organisms, and this is plants, animals, they can actually maintain good survival and reproduction at a certain optimum physical environment. So your climate envelope is basically a range of conditions which you can find a species occurring. Stress pretty much is some type of environmental change which decreases survival, growth, and reproduction. And this may take place, limit organisms from certain environments. And that is very important. So if your environment is pretty much variable and you're looking at the rate of physiological process, there is an optimum environment or environmental features that organisms can tolerate and can survive and reproduce.